Archway Hospital, and it's time to go urban exploring. But there's guard dogs. There is a guard dog patrol that goes around the outside of the hospital, which wasn't very effective at stopping us. Because as long as you're not unlucky and bump into him on the way in, which is not that likely, then there's not much they can do, since the guard dogs do not go inside the building unless they've noticed you're inside. So we've got to make sure our torches are not visible to the windows while we're inside the building. That is a bit scary, because if we're noticed, they're coming in. So this is a risky Urbex. Let's go. We sneak through the grounds of Archway Hospital. We go in and let's explore it. And this section in the very middle of the hospital is very creepy, with this staircase going up. That is an interesting section. And along we go to the lifts. There's 3 lifts here. One old Benny lift, which we'll come on to later. One rather modded lift, and a separate lift is also rather modded. On this one we weren't able to open the doors. This is one of the modded ones. And along we go to this section with some old medical equipment, which looks very spooky.
159. Okay.
That's a biohazard. And now we go up to the next floor up. And let's take a look at the lifts. And this one is the old Benny lift. It's had its buttons replaced, but it's still got a very old and very rare logic, which we'll come on to later. We've got the big door motor, massive chassis, A&A inspection. Look at those shaft bars, those old style shaft bars. That is something old and interesting, but I don't know what it is. Actually, that's the inspection control there, but the panel door operator on the inspection control, and that is a Benny. That's the inspection control, I put a silly door thing on it. So let's carry on exploring the hospital. And we look outside the window. We've got to be very careful. Are the guard dog patrols out there? Are they going past?
Security.
We can't see them. In fact, we didn't actually see them that often, because they don't patrol that much. But when they do patrol, we've got to make sure we don't get seen.
It costs too much.
Security still live here.
Yeah. That's why it's hard to get in touch. Yeah, we'll see then.
So we now carry on our explore and go further into the hospital, and now go up the stairs to one of the upper levels. On this upper level there are PIR sensors which turn on security lights, but surprisingly these don't sound any sort of alarm. Despite the fact these are security PIR sensors being installed by the security company, they only turn on the lights. That's odd, but security could notice the lights turning off and on from outside, so this is risky.
It's on the ceiling. No code. A creepy thing on an Urbex. And now go up the stairs further to the top floor. And now we go up to the plant room. And here we are in the plant room. and into the old Benny motor room. This lift logic is very rare and it's got several different technologies. It's got vintage old style 30s relays on a wooden board rather than a slate board, which is nice and rare, but that's then connected to some 70s style quick changeable relays. You never see those two technologies together, and there's also some old circuit boards. What a mix of parts.
This is older than I thought. Ah, DC generator. What logic's this got? Oh, that logic's older than I thought. This lift is much older than I thought. Wow. Oh, look how big they built these things back then. Benny lifts. I've never seen one of this era being this complicated. Oh wow. They're using very old contactors for your main contacts, like big heavy duty things like you get in the 30s, but on wood rather than on slate. Then for the main part of the logic, that actually manages the logic function, you've got these style relays. I've never seen those two technologies in the same motion before.
Never been up here before. Never been up here.
This was a very advanced lift for the time.
A lot of relays, isn't it?
On this lift, there is a bodge board, and I discovered something I haven't seen before. This is the same bodge board as that lift in Tunbridge Wells that goes, "This lift is going up." And I never knew that this was designed and produced by A&A for digital lift controls. Digital lift controls couldn't even produce their own stuff.
That is something I've never realised before. Designed and produced by A&A for digital lift controls. So digital lift controls couldn't design their own equipment. What? That's the bodge board. That's the board where it keeps going, this lift's going up all the time on every floor. It's such a mix. I've never seen a circuit board, quick change relay and vintage relay all in the same motor. That is just bizarre. It's like 3 eras of lift all merged together.
And now, we couldn't get in the motor room of the modded lift sadly, because that one, her door was locked. So we now continue up to the bell tower of the hospital. This is a classic old hospital with really old architecture. So we go up to the first level of the bell tower, where it's very dark. And we now go up to the top level of the bell tower. So now go back down to the basement of the hospital, back where the spooky staircase is, and along we go to the other building in the hospital, which is only connected by the basement. But first we stop off at the canteen. And now to the other building. And let's take a look at a lift. Sadly, this one's been modded. We now got up and take a look inside the lift. Sadly, the inside's ruined. And we take a look on top of the lift. But sadly, we can't get in the motor room as that was locked.
Same. I'm not the same, it's different.
It's got a weird platform on the side. What's that weird platform for?
So we now take a look around this other building in the hospital. we look outside the window and the guard dog patrol's going past. You can't see it on video because it's too dark. So we've got to stay very still and don't shine our torches till they've gone out of sight. Then, once they'd gone out of sight, we took this opportunity to leave and we got away without being caught.
Good, I think that's all.